Good American Family Episode 4 Recap. Michael finally gets the picture and takes action. Good American Family opens with a caution that it isn't intending to take one side of the Natalia Grace story over the other, but that's certainly what it continues to do in Episode 4. Sits right there in black and white, marks the halfway point. I think we might start to see some of the alternate viewpoints come to the fore in subsequent episodes. My working theory is that everything we've seen thus far has been entirely from the Bennett point of view, and that Natalia's perspective might revisit the same events, but show a totally innocent side to them. I sincerely hope so, anyway, since at this point, she's basically the kid from Orphan in all but name. I should point out that Christine and Michael haven't come across as perfect by any means. This is especially true of the 2019 scenes. Michael tried to paint Christine as being solely responsible for everything that happened to Natalia, and here she's seen gloating about how she can still manipulate Michael by sending him nudes since she's the only one who can make him feel like a man. He's remarried at this point. So not exactly pillars of the community. This present-day context helps, because when we see Christine in the past preparing for a ghostwriter to come over and begin work on her book about raising Jacob, you realize how much of her public-facing image is just a fabrication. That speaks to a woman who is used to making up stories, and everything involving Natalia could well be one of them. But from the Bennett perspective, it doesn't look like it. Natalia calls Child Protective Services right before the ghostwriter arrives, and then when she's there, makes a ton of noise and eventually starts throwing her brother's toys into oncoming traffic. Christine has no choice but to confess everything that's going on, which will be excised from the published work. One gets the impression that this isn't a particularly rare thing in ghost-written parenting books, which doesn't exactly surprise me. Having had enough of Natalia, Christine leaves with the kids, and Michael remains behind to look after Natalia and try to find alternative employment, which Natalia also sabotages by repeatedly calling 911 to order pizza. Michael is forced to pause the interview to explain things to the authorities, but by the time he gets back, his potential employer has hung up. He tries to explain to Natalia that this was the only way he can get his wife and other children to come home, and Natalia says, in an alarmingly casual way, that she hopes they die. Even Michael can't ignore that one. If nothing else, this leads to a reconciliation between him and Christine, since they can both agree that Natalia's a psycho who is trying to kill them. But they also agree they can't go to the police, because Natalia's facility for lying and the haziness of her origins gives her too much scope to bend the truth. Instead, they decide to send her to a psychiatric facility, which seems fair, all things considered. But in the meantime, they lock Natalia in the garage, which is a bit questionable. You can really start to see some of the implications about the Barnetts coming through in Good American Family Episode 4. There have already been suggestions about Christine's troubled childhood, but they're reinforced here, and locking Natalia away is hard to justify. When she makes so much noise that a neighbor calls the police, you can see the outline of a more sinister scheme coming together. Christine tells the police officer they're good Christian people and he takes their side, telling them about the legal process of getting someone's birth date amended officially. You can easily see how this might look from Natalia's perspective, but it's a surprisingly easy process. The Barnetts are able to get Natalia's age legally changed from 8 to 22, which opens up a bunch more solutions for them, one of which being to move her into an apartment on her own. They'll foot the bill, though admittedly not out of their own pockets, and occasionally visit, but otherwise they're free of her. Both Michael and Christine can't shove her through the door fast enough. But there's that ambiguity, finally. If the Bennetts are wrong here, which real life has subsequently proved they were, Then they're moving an 8-year-old into their own apartment and leaving them to their own devices. And they're thrilled by it. Suddenly, the whole thing looks a lot more interesting, doesn't it? Episode 4 of Good American Family was packed with long-awaited confrontations, emotional reckonings, and a pivotal moment for Michael, who finally put his foot down after 3 episodes of being the family doormat. From the opening scene to the closing cliffhanger, the hour was a whirlwind of drama, tension, and a little bit of poetic justice. Hashtag Michael's breaking point ***. Michael has spent the first 3 episodes trying to be the peacemaker, smoothing over conflicts between his overbearing mother, his self-absorbed sister, and his distant wife. But this episode made one thing clear: he's done. From the very start, there was a shift in his demeanor. No more placating. No more excuses. It was time for action. The episode opened with Michael in his garage, staring at his father's old toolbox, the one thing he inherited after his dad's passing. It was symbolic. Michael had been trying to fix his family for years, but now he realized he couldn't keep tightening screws on something fundamentally broken. His wife, Lauren, interrupted his thoughts, demanding to know if he had spoken to his mother about the disastrous family dinner from the last episode. "I will," he said, but his tone was different this time. He wasn't just saying it to keep the peace. He meant it. Hashtag Carol's manipulative games fall apart ***. Michael's mother, Carol, has been a master manipulator since the show's pilot, subtly pitting her children against each other and playing the victim whenever she was called out. But this episode, the cracks started to show. When Michael finally sat her down and confronted her about how she treated his wife and sister, she immediately went into damage control mode. "I was just trying to help," she said, eyes wide with fox innocence. "I only want what's best for you, Michael." For the first time, he didn't let her off the hook. "No, Mom. You want what's best for ***. Carol wasn't used to being challenged, and for a moment, she looked genuinely thrown. But she recovered quickly, shifting gears to guilt-tripping. "I sacrificed everything for this family, and this is how you repay me?" It was classic Carol, but Michael didn't budge. He told her, in no uncertain terms, that if she didn't start respecting the boundaries he and Lauren had set, she wouldn't be as involved in their lives. The look on Carol's face, a mix of rage and shock. Hashtag ***. Jenny's self-destruction continues ***. Meanwhile, Michael's sister, Jenny, was spiraling. After years of living under Carol's influence, she was struggling to establish her own identity. The scene at her office was particularly telling. Her boss confronted her about missing deadlines, and instead of taking responsibility, she lashed out. "You don't understand the pressure I'm under," she snapped. But the real blow came later when her boyfriend, Nate, broke up with her. He was done playing second fiddle to her family drama. "You don't even see how toxic this all is," he told her before walking out the door. Jenny's face crumbled, but whether this would be her wake-up call remained to be seen. Hashtag ***. Lauren draws a line in the sand ***. Lauren has been patient, maybe too patient, with Michael's family. But in this episode, she finally hit her limit. After Carol showed up at their house unannounced, again, and made passive-aggressive comments about how Michael used to love homemade meals before he married you, Lauren wasn't having it. "You need to leave," she said, cutting through Carol's usual nonsense. "Michael and I are a team, and we won't let you drive a wedge between us." Carol tried to argue, but Lauren was firm. And when Michael walked in and sided with Lauren that was the moment. That was when Carol knew she was losing her grip on him. Hashtag asterisk asterisk. A new beginning or more trouble ahead asterisk asterisk. The episode ended with Michael and Lauren sitting on their back porch, exhausted but united. Did we just declare war on my mother? Michael asked with a tired smile. Lauren laughed. No, but we finally set boundaries. And that's a start. Just when it seemed like they might finally get a moment of peace, Michael's phone buzzed. A text from Jenny. Asterisk you don't get it. She'll never stop. Be ready asterisk. A warning? A threat? Either way, it set up the next episode perfectly. Michael may have finally taken action, but was it too late?